Hello guys and welcome to the double game week show, the most exciting time of the year. And we're going to talk about the free hits and how to play them. And first off, we have Mitch's team. Want to walk through what you're thinking for this game week?
Yep. So for Mitch's Balmy Army, sponsored by Ariel Laundry Detergent, going to kick off with the goalie. Chelsea have fantastic fixtures. Cardiff away, Brighton at home. Speaks for itself, really. I already had Kepa, so didn't need to fiddle with goalkeeper there. Following on into the defence, David Luiz as well. I think it's more risky than not having two defensive players in a team. But I feel that coming to the crunch time of the season, Chelsea are obviously pushing for that top four place. And David Luiz also has a really, really nice offensive threat as well. So I slotted him in. More of the budget defender. Obviously, you can see on the screen as well, every single player in my team has got a double game week fixture. Schlupp, I love the name. Love his stats. Love what he looks like on the pitch. Got a fantastic first fixture, although Palace are better away. And because Palace are better away, that's why I've stuck him in there, even though they're playing Spurs. And you'll see that I don't have any Spurs get players, even though I think that's a bit of a risk from my side, from my point of view, because Spurs are also fighting for top four and they're really not in good form. And this is a game week where they can bounce back. I think instead of moving on to my last defender and then talking about midfield and then strikers, I just want to talk about Manchester City because I'm so excited to talk about Manchester City. So they have probably the best fixtures of the entire season in a double game week. And I wanted to go traditional defender, midfield, striker. Raheem Sterling speaks for himself. Any football fan watching this knows what he's done in the past few game weeks with a hat-trick in, not his, was it his last game? He had a hat-trick?
Yeah. Back-to-back hat-tricks. Yeah.
Back hat-tricks in the Premier League and in the International, which is fantastic. And Aguero as well. He's also getting the armband, but I'll discuss the armband in a little bit. And then because I wanted to keep it kind of traditional, I went for Laporte because he had a banging last double game week. Missed out on him big time. I think he got a clean sheet in one, a goal in the other as well. He was just all over the shop in the last double game week, and this is another two fantastic fixtures. Differential midfield for me, and obviously budget-wise to fit in as many expensive players as I could, is Deulofeu, because anyone that's been watching the show from day dot will know that I love Gerrard. I think he's fantastic. I screamed to the heavens, and Yogi listened, even though he's not here with us tonight. And then left him on the bench when he scored a hat-trick and got an assist. So I'm hoping that he can replicate that form in at least one of the fixtures. United away, tricky fixture. Fulham at home speaks for itself, but United might score 3 goals and then do their usual and lack in the last 5-10 minutes, and Watford might get a goal, and if they do, I expect Deulofeu to potentially be involved. Brings me on to Hazard. Again, like Luiz and Kepa, fantastic fixtures. He's the man of the moment for Chelsea when they pop off. I'm sure you guys will probably say it as well. He's maybe, in my opinion, arguably the most coin flip player in the Premier League. He'll turn up and he'll play like Messi, or he'll turn up and he'll just for whatever reason not do the business. But I'm hoping for these fixtures he will do the business. Other than that, 3 more to chat about. Paul Pogba speaks for himself, other than the fact that his form has dipped ever so slightly. But I'm expecting him to come back into full force. I didn't actually watch France. I don't know if you guys saw that he obviously played for France. Did he play well, or did he look like he was doing well? He got an assist, I think I remember.
I would recommend you watch that assist for Griezmann's goal because it was unbelievable. Like, definitely give that a watch. But yeah, he definitely doesn't look like he's out of form based on that. So yeah. Okay.
So for that reason, Pogba, and I love Paul Pogba, and Rashford. I actually was tinkering for Lukaku, but I heard from Sam, looking online, doing some research, and thinking about the fact that he didn't show up for Belgium. I'm worried about that yellow triangle and whether he's actually going to play. I know Rashford also has one as well, but Rashford is the kind of guy that gets an injury and then comes back. And last but not least, Jimenez, the guy that I have managed to avoid for the whole bloody season. he hasn't been in my team at all, and it's really, really let me down. And because he has a double game week this week, I thought that I would give him the punt. Bench is pretty shit, but to try and fit in everybody that I've got in the starting 11. And I will point out a little disclaimer that the team is subject to change because I'm having thoughts flying left, right, and centre. But yeah, that sums up the team for me. Obviously, any little bits of advice, if you're using a free hit, I mean, just like my team, you want every single player in your starting 11 minimum to be having the double game week. I mean, if you don't, then what's the point of playing your free hit, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's all from me, from Arnie's Barmy Army, sponsored by Ariel laundry detergent. So
we should probably comment on that, our thoughts, Sam, and try to give Mitch our opinions, maybe. And then he'll do, and then he'll do what he wants with them. I think Connolly and Simpson, and also maybe Romeo, if you're going for that formation, that's like the bench. All guys should strive for, almost. Maybe Romeo. I heard that what's his name? Bakuna. Yeah, he's a very nailed on guy, and yeah, but you shouldn't really need them anyways. But that's like the cheapest possible bench that I have found, so it looks good, the bench. So it's of course the Lufeo and Jimenez pick that stands out, and I don't mind either of them. I think Jimenez just does very well right now, and Delafeu as well. They are both in like the best form. These are the guys I would want to have, unless they had the cup game coming up, which makes me hesitant about them. So it's a little bit risky, but I feel like it's almost worth it, because if they get 1.5 game or something, they're in that kind of form that's like 2 games for other players. So I think it's a little bit of a risk, but I like the risk. I think, yeah, it's a little bit worrying that Delafeu has the Fulham game afterwards. Yeah, that's basically it. I have no other complaints. I think a free hit team should look something like this. I love the defense, and yeah, it's like a template midfield except for Delafeu. I think Hazard, Pogba, and Sterling is like essential this game week, and yeah, it's interesting with the offense. Basically, I think that's where you can find like your own picks, like Batshuayi or Saha or Rashford or something. So that's totally fine. I have no problems with that team. What do you think, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly wouldn't pick holes in it and say it's a poor team. It's a little bit against the philosophy that I've gone with, which we'll see, I guess, in a bit. But I do like it. I personally am a little bit less all in on Chelsea than most, but I do like the idea of having a safe defense. You're going to pick up a lot of points from those back guys. Obviously, Luiz, is it David Luiz? You use David Luiz. You picked in defense, isn't it? Yeah, he can get the odd goal as well. The only thing with him is he has been a little bit subject to a rest every now and then, but at his price, I think he's still value. I wouldn't want anyone else from Chelsea's defence. So if you're going that way, I'd have him. And you're captaining Aguero?
Yeah, Captain Aguero.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Yeah, Nick Mates. I really want to re-stress the point around the bench. I've seen a lot of people really putting a 4-8 player on their bench, or a 4. They're just like, just in case. I just think you've got to be so unlucky. What you're basically gambling on there is one of your starting 11 gets injured in the warm-up or has an injury you don't even know about. And I think I say it now, it happens to 3 of my players, but I think that's a once-a-season kind of thing. Just buy the bullet, get your big boys in there and get some waste man on the bench.
Yeah, you're still going to get like 120 points, even if one of these players don't play. So.
Can I ask, actually, before we move on to either of you guys' teams, thank you for the feedback. I'm definitely going to think about all of that, especially the potential David Luiz rotation. Although, didn't he retire from international football? Is he retired from international football, or did he play for Brazil?
I don't think he played, but I didn't know that he was maybe retired. I haven't heard that.
Okay, I'll look into that as well. But I've got the question for you guys. Obviously, although it looks like a good team, but obviously there are a couple of holes where I could pump some more value in. I actually have 3.4 or 3.5 mil in 3.4 mil in the bank with that team. So, I mean, any kind of suggestions as to? I mean, obviously, I'm guessing you guys are going to say that Deulofeu and Jimenez stand out as potential upgrades. I could swap Deulofeu for Son. I could also, tinker around a bit and potentially even get Kane in if I downgraded Laporte and upgraded Jimenez, or kept Jimenez and upgraded Rashford to Kane. I mean, what do you guys think about having, I would say, a substantial amount of money in the bank that I obviously don't want to have?
Yeah, I'll let Sam. What do you think first off?
It's difficult. It's a strange amount. I really wasn't expecting you to say that, because you were going through it. It sounded like a solid team. I'm trying to think where my team kind of is better, I guess, because it should be with that amount of money in the bank. I mean, it does seem a bit like if you've got that much, maybe you don't need Jeff Schlupp, and maybe you could go to someone a bit more premium. But I mean, I've got him in my team, but there's a different reason behind that. Yeah, personally, I'm at the moment not I'm not punting on Jimenez at the moment, but that could change. But I'm definitely not punting on Deulofeu, because, as Oscar said, the Fulham game being second does really concern me. So he might get a few points in the game, but I really think he'll be rested for that second game.
Yeah.
The issue about 8-6. That's the thing. I don't know. Maybe Martial. Maybe keep an eye on that Lukaku news.
Yeah.
If he's out, then Martial could play off the left, and he's 7 million as a midfielder.
Yeah.
But to be like I said, when you read the team out, I wasn't really noticing massive holes in it. So
yeah, it's such a fun team. It's like it's like a little bit of risk with the Deulofeu thing. So I guess if you want to go more secure, I definitely consider Son. I can definitely see him play those 2 games that he has coming up. And and we discussed Luis maybe being a little bit of a rotation risk. So maybe that's an unnecessary risk to take. And maybe you can upgrade one of the strikers to Higuain if you like the looks of him. He has been good against the bottom teams, and he has been wasteful, so maybe that evens out, and maybe he starts scoring a bit more, which he should with the chances he is getting. So I would look into that. Those 2 maybe.
I might just give a word of caution on Son, and that I know he's been playing yet again in Korea. Oh, I'm not sure if in Korea, but for Korea, he played a whole match again. Don't know if he played the second one, but just maybe have a look at his minutes.
Okay.
But I wouldn't have Ali, because I thought he's been poor and he was leggy in the England game. So
I mean, it's quite funny actually. Just quickly touching on Ali, I'm sure Oscar will back this up as well from the first video. I think maybe even the first or second video that we ever did together, Oscar. Don't you remember? I shouldn't, because he's British. Sam, you'll probably echo that as well. But I've literally been slaughtering Ali all season. I think I mean, it's interesting actually as well. It was either this season or last season. He came out publicly with a comment, and it just summed him up for me. He turned around and he was complaining, and this got into the news, about his FIFA ranking. The kid was complaining about his FIFA ranking, and he's had probably the worst season that he's had. He didn't even have the best season last season. It was the season before that he popped off, and then it's just gone downhill. Yeah. So I echo that about Ali. I really would.
I think he's very on and off. He has the game where he just decides the match, but he's very inconsistent this season, and that's bad for FPL players, because we don't know when he's going to pop off. So that turns me off.
I think he's had a lot of injuries this season. I don't think he's probably been fully fit the whole season. I think he came back leggy after the England campaign. He's never really recovered. I think it's for me, I mean, I'm almost writing him out for the season now, and have a good summer if you want, and come back, and I'll think next year. But I don't think he's going to be in my team until before the end of this season.
Yeah.
Okay. So Sam, let's go through your team.
Yeah, my team's a bit different, but let's have a look, shall we? So I've gone a more lean at the back, big up front approach, which we'll get to eventually. So in goal, I've got Ben Foster, I think his middle name is actually Ben King of Saves Foster. He loves a save. One of these players that an ex-Man United goalie, a bit like Tom Heaton, loves to go to Old Trafford and put on a performance. So I could see him maybe getting a few saves there. And then Fulham at home. I know Fulham are worse at the back than they are at home. Worse going at the back than they are going forward, so they can get goals. But at his price, I needed a non-premium goalie for what I was going for. I liked that. So I don't trust, is it Guaita in Palace? I don't trust he'll definitely play both games. So unless I hear anything that Foster's in line for rotation ahead of the Cup, which I don't expect, I'm going to be happy with him, I think. Laporte is my man in central defence. I think I'm going to trust that he'll get the 2 games, even with John Stones coming back. It just means that they won't drop Fernandinho back into centre back like they have before. He played both games in the double game week before, as we know, got a goal in one of them. They've got great fixtures, as we've obviously touched on. The average score of the last time they played these 2 teams last time was 8-0, 3-0 win against Fulham and a 5-0 win against Cardiff. So if they can keep another couple of clean sheets, that'd be great. Jeff Schlupp, I'm not going to expand too much on what Mitch said. Loves a goal, loves an assist. Huddersfield at home is a great chance for a clean sheet, and I don't think Tottenham are particularly tight at the back, so he could provide an attacking return in that game, which I think is going to be full of goals, being the first game at the new stadium. And Victor Lindelof, I've got in. His wife's had a baby, so no worries about him being called away. United play the 2 teams who are going to be looking at the Cup, and they play the easier one, in my opinion, first, which is Watford at home. So they might play out a stronger side than Wolves will, but I think there's possibly a clean sheet to be had there. He might even score and do the baby rocking celebration, so there's always that as well.
Yeah.
My midfield, 75% of which is very, very template. I've got Raheem Sterling. I don't say anything about him. Incredible form. Hazard, I just think you can't. As we've said, he can frustrate you, but I don't think you can ignore him having these fixtures, so he's a no-brainer for me. Pogba, I worry that a lot of us are sleepwalking into Pogba a little bit. His form has been on the dip, but as I've said, the fixtures are good. If Rashford is up front without Lukaku, I do feel like he performed better in those games where Rashford was up front. I'm not sure if there's a reason for that, if that's a coincidence, but when Lukaku came back and he got on the roll, it seemed like Pogba's output dried up a bit. So whether there's anything to that, I'm not sure. But I presume he's still on penalties. I think it was even mentioned after he missed the last one, he'd still take the next one, so that's fine. My last spot is where things are a little bit interesting. So I've gone very lean on this last spot to accommodate a strong front line. At the moment, I'm sitting Callum Hudson-Odoi in the spot itself. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to play him or Dale Stephens. Dale Stephens is the most nailed-on 4 points in the entire world. He'll get no more and he'll get no less. But the slight maverick part of me just wants to punt on Hudson-Odoi. I think if Hudson-Odoi even gets one start against Cardiff away or Brighton at home, I'm backing him to get an assist or a goal. The way he played for England was great. So I might just tune in to Sarri's press conferences and see if he gives anything away. But I might do it anyway, even if he just gets brought on and he only gets 2 points. It feels like it's worth risking I can't see Dale Stephens punishing me. I say that now. I can't see him punishing me with 15 points off the bench, but you never know. I should never say these things. And up front is where the meat of my team is. Sergio Aguero, who's not currently sitting with the armband, but I think I will give it to him just because of his rest while Sterling's been playing a lot of minutes. I think he can go balmy, and his goals have not dried up, but he's been caught up by a few players in terms of the Golden Boot race, and he loves to win that. He hasn't won it for a couple of years now, so he'll be keen to get firing again. Marcus Rashford, same as we mentioned before. If Lukaku's injured and Rashford's fit, I think he's an unbelievable pick if he's playing in the number 9 role. 7.6 million, I believe he is. Hopefully he can capture some of his old form from a month or so ago. And I have gone for Harry Kane. So this is where the sacrifices for my defence come in. This is as much a bit of a fun pick as it is anything for me. Obviously, we know what Kane's about, and he does get goals. I think he's got 4 in his last 5, although a couple were penalties. I think the home game against Palace at the new stadium, it's going to be a great occasion. They're going to be up for it. He loves a historic goal, so to speak. And he's a player I know is going to play as close to 180 minutes as possible. He's definitely going to get the game time. I don't necessarily expect to return against Liverpool, but they haven't looked quite as good at the back in the last few weeks. Conceded a couple to Burnley, conceded to Fulham recently. So he could, if he gets anything there, and then he goes into that Crystal Palace game at home on fire. That's all I'm hoping for from him. But he'll be a good one to watch. And I think I'm confident he's going to bring me some points. I believe it's going to happen. My sort of outside considerations, I was very much against Jimenez, but him getting a complete rest in the last international game has brought him into my thinking. My decision would be which of my front three I'm going to sacrifice, and it wouldn't be Aguero, and it definitely wouldn't be Rashford if Lukaku's fit. So it would be Kane I'm looking at, which would involve a massive restructure of my team. So I'll probably leave that till the 11th hour to make a final decision on. But at the moment, I feel happy with the way things look. Bench is absolute gutter. Dale Stevens at the moment sitting there, like I said, could be swapped in, but the rest of them aren't going to even get near a football pitch. But hopefully they don't need to.
Great. Mitch, your thoughts?
Yeah, I love it. I love the Hudson-Odoi little punt. I really love that because he is a little gem, and I cannot wait for... I mean, obviously, I love the pair of them as well, but I cannot wait for either Willian or Pedro to go or break their leg, maybe. Chesney style, and you know, for Hudson-Odoi to finally get the game time that he deserves. Only critique really. I mean, obviously, like you said, and you backed it up really well. Like I can't really argue against that. The fact that Foster is an ex-United and loves to go and perform well at Trafford, kind of like when why is his name escaping me? The one that left for Arsenal, Welbeck. Welbeck always loved to score against United for Arsenal when he left and went there as well. It's that same kind of thing for teams. But having Pogba and Rashford with Foster is the only little dip, I would say. And
Sure.
you got to move that arm. You got to definitely move that arm back into Aguero. Yeah. Yeah, that's it from me. I think it's great.
This is really interesting. I think I have to mention a couple of things, and I was pondering Foster. I was pondering Lindelöf. So I think they are decent picks, but I don't like the looks of Manchester United's defense. You know, I think Lindelöf has stepped his game up, but him being like the best central defender in that team speaks quite a lot of the quality, because he's not world class in my opinion, and he's still their best defender. So I don't know. I don't see them keeping a clean sheet, unfortunately. But he's great value if he can keep at least one. He's very cheap, and yeah, Foster, you're hoping for like a clean sheet against Fulham, and that could very well happen. But I like the premium goalie for 1 million more, and you have a decent shot at 2 clean sheets. And then the Hudson-Odoi pick. I've had Hudson-Odoi all season. No, not all season, but for a long time. Got him in cheap. Of course, he's a cheap player, and I hope that he was going to be a gem for me, but he hasn't. So I'm quite frustrated with him. So that's why I don't see him coming into their side like a starting player in the Premier League anytime soon. I think he's too far the pecking order. I think Loftus-Cheek is probably a front of him, and the Kane pick, I just don't like how Spurs are playing right now, and I think these 2 games are really tough. Of course, Liverpool, the toughest game you're gonna end it away, so that's super tough. And Van Dijk is the best central defender in the world right now, so could definitely keep a clean sheet versus Tottenham. And Crystal Palace maybe will concede one or something, but these games are usually very tight. So I don't see like an explosive Kane. I don't see any chance of him being like scoring a lot of goals, and that puts me off his price quite a bit. But yeah, I don't want to talk you out of anything. I guess if you think that's a fun team, I think you should go for it. But that's the like my concerns around it actually.
I think that's what that. Yeah, they're all really fair points. Like, and obviously we don't know. Otherwise, we'd be picking a team that's going to get 146 points right now. I guess the thing, all those points all kind of link into each other. I guess because the thing I have is like Lindelof. I definitely accept like your concerns, and I know that United haven't been that great at the back. But unfortunately, for less than 5.1 million, you're not getting anything out of in the way of a premium defender. And then apart from Palace, I don't see many of the outside the top six that are going to perform. So that's kind of that pick. Foster very similar, and then I guess if I back against Kane, then I can obviously patch those holes. But at the moment, I like the idea of it, and I think he's a man for the big occasion. I thought he played really well, particularly against Montenegro. Good against the Czech Republic as well. But yeah, there's every chance. Like I said, I'm still back and forth on Jimenez, so it might be that I just knock together a couple of drafts and see what I could do with my defense and Jimenez. But yeah, we'll see. Certainly 7 or 8 of those picks, I'm pretty 100% with. So yeah, cool. Thanks for your feedback.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. It's still a great team. I just and as I said, I've been like through all of these players myself. Has been through my drafts, so it's very like small margins right now. And
sure.
Yeah, this is why I don't pick them, but they are definitely have been in consideration for me as well. So let's go through my team, and this is like I've had so many drafts. I didn't know which draft to show you guys. But this one I like because I think it's a little bit different. So as you can see, I have 2 Palace defenders. And as I mentioned with Kane, I just don't like how Spurs are playing. I can see Crystal Palace getting away with the result, and they are usually tight games. It could go either way. They are quite a strong team, in my opinion, Crystal Palace, and they are even stronger now if Zaha is fit and plays together with Batshuayi. That makes this look even better. And so that's quite interesting. I haven't seen anyone go for Van Aanholt. They don't want to spend 5.4 for a defender, but these are the kind of players you have to look at when you have triple City, triple United, triple Chelsea. So I have triple Crystal Palace maybe. The other guy who stands out is Martial. So I have a little bit. I have been quite good this season at predicting who's suddenly going to play striker. And I feel like Martial could play striker together with Rashford, like Rashford and Lukaku was doing, because I think Solskjaer liked that formation. And I think Martial could fill that hole. And that would be amazing value, like Rashford is for 7.2. I think he might play on the wing as well, and that's fine too. But there's a small chance he might play striker. So I have like a concern against myself here with Martial, or basically going for 3 Man United players is a little bit too much maybe. And of course they are both injury doubts right now, so a lot of things can happen. And then we have Batshuayi. So it's the triple Palace, and it's the same idea. I'm not sure if I want to go triple. Just sounds a bit stupid because their fixtures aren't. That Spurs fixture is kind of tough. But I'm backing Crystal Palace over these two fixtures. Think they can get 4 points or something. And Batshuayi looks very good. I've never seen him this good. So I think you can go like Jimenez, Batshuayi, Rashford, Zaha, I like all of those picks. I would love Lukaku if he was fit, but apparently he isn't. But he was in my plans for quite a while. But I like this team a lot. The one thing I could see is like downgrade Van Aanholt maybe and go for Son instead of Martial to like spread the risk a little bit. But otherwise, I like it probably. So, Mitch, you want to go at it?
Who's your armband on at the moment?
Oh, sorry, it's on Aguero. You talked me into that.
Good man. Good
Yeah.
man. Up the Kun. There we go.
Yeah,
Just for all the viewers, I did say Kun. That's very similar to another word. Aguero. Come on, Aguero. Yeah, Van Aanholt would be the only one I would maybe tinker with if you could get value elsewhere. I suppose Van Aanholt down to something a bit cheaper, and then Martial up to Son if you wanted that Spurs representation. I also had Son in for a bit as well because I love him as a player. I think he's fantastic. And Sam made I didn't even think about it like that. Sam also raised an excellent point when he was talking about his team about how when they play Palace at home, that's their first game at the new stadium, isn't it?
Yeah.
So like that's a huge occasion for Spurs, and it's not like West Ham playing at the London Stadium. Spurs have got arguably now probably the most beautiful stadium in the Premier League, even though it's taken a long time for it to materialise. Yeah, I like I get again same risk as me as well with the double Chelsea defence, and I think Sam does have a point when he says that he wouldn't be that keen. The only reason that I am probably going to stick to my guns, and you might well do as well, is because their fixtures are just great. I mean, Cardiff away, Cardiff have been scoring more recently, but if Chelsea come out and play like Chelsea, they won't score. And Brighton at home, I mean, Brighton have been very I think the word is lackluster really this season. I mean, Gross has spent most of his time on the Grob spent most of his time on the sidelines, and yeah, but I like that, to be fair. Martial and Van Aanholt though, the two tricky ones, definitely.
Sam, what are your thoughts?
I like the Martial pick. It's something I would think about myself if I sort of had the template to fit it. I guess it doesn't really suit my team, but I think he could be great value. I mean, he's a bit hit and miss, but when you're not paying 9 million, you don't need people to deliver in 2 games. If he gets a goal, even a goal in 1 game, and gets you near 10 points, I think you'd take that for that kind of money.
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel comfortable with the double Palace defence. Personally, with Wan-Bissaka out, he probably has been their best. Well, sorry, he's not confirmed out, but I know he withdrew from the squad, and he's like a last-minute decision. So I do think that weakens their defence. It depends. I don't know. Mitch might be able to help me out here. I don't know if Huddersfield were lively and good going forward last week when they played West Ham and got 3 goals, or whether West Ham were just so poor.
In a quick response to that, I would say that we were very poor. We were very, very poor, and and to complement that, they took the chances well, considering the fact that we were extremely poor at the back. I mean, I don't know what the fuck, excuse my French for any people listening under whatever age, the 4 of them were doing in that game.
Yeah, so I'd be inclined to spread a little bit of risk there and maybe pick up, I don't know. Weirdly, no one's talking about Wolves' defence at all. I know they've got United, but they've been quite good. You could look there. You know, I don't know if Doherty would play, but maybe one of the centre-backs is worth having a look at. Or, yeah, that would probably be my only real worry if I woke up and saw that was my team, is that I don't think I'd like the 2 Palace defence. But other than that, I like it. There's a couple of nice differentials in there. And there's a load of really solid picks. So
I have a question then. Would you switch Van Aanholt for Deulofeu?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, I would rather have Deulofeu.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Come on, Gerard.
Okay, so that's fine. Do that. Cool. So I think we're all on the same captain here. it's Aguero. Okay, and we have similar backlines. I think me and Mitch have Schlupp, Laporte, Luis. And you have Schlupp and Laporte, Sam.
Yep.
So those two seem quite nice. And so, are there any guys that you think are gonna be? We are talking about fraud picks. We were doing it last week. Can you come up with anyone for this game week?
Fraud picks.
Strangely, it is almost strange that no one's talking about him. So maybe we all believe this anyway. But I think I could see why people would be drawn into Higuain. I called him out last week as a fraud, to be fair, and he didn't do anything. He has got a double, obviously. He's got those nice fixtures, but he just looks bereft of confidence. He just looks like an old man that doesn't know what football is. So yeah, I know at the moment we are staying away from him, but that's the guy I would warn people off.
Okay. I've been I was saying that I don't think Higuain is gonna change their attacking threat a lot, and I think he hasn't been great, but still I wouldn't go as far as say that he's a fraud for this game week. I think he's very close to come into my team actually, if everything else matches, because yeah, as you said, Sam, I'm not totally comfortable with doubling up on their defense. With the teams they are facing, it looks maybe more like they can actually score a couple of goals.
Mm-hmm.
I think Higuain is a decent pick, but
okay.
It's hard to pick. I think the fraud pick I'm gonna go for is Milivojevic.
Stole my fraud.
I've seen him in so many free hit drafts, and I'm like, so you're hoping for a penalty, basically.
Yeah. If you take away penalties, he's got 1 goal and 1 assist this season, and he's over 6 million. That's obscene.
Yeah, so that's the only chance of him scoring. That's no, it's you're paying 1 million too much for that, or even 2 million. I mean, you can get Camarasa. He has tough fixtures, but I mean that's the same level of scoring ability and such. So sorry, Mitch, but that still feels good that if you confirm that.
Yeah, if I'm going to say someone slightly different, well, it doesn't really matter because he's got a big fat red triangle, and I put him in my team because I got the free hit. You can just take it in that. Just to troll Sam a little bit is good old Sanchez at Manchester United. He's warming up the medical table, getting paid £300,000 a week to do so. He's fraud. He's fraud of the game week for me, even though he's not even going to play. Really difficult to think of a fraud. I mean, this might come off a little bit controversial. I mean, maybe even very controversial, considering what he's done and the minutes that he's played this season. And you probably guess in a minute if I'm going to say Oscar, but especially because you're even tinkering having him in your squad as well. But I feel like people looking for triple City representation that aren't interested in their defence at all because they did have that leaky spell might obviously, hopefully, have Aguero and Sterling and might look to one of the Silvers. And I think that looking at stats for both of them in terms of as an FPL asset, maybe not frauds, but I would say you could probably get better value elsewhere. I mean, the best thing about Bernardo, which is great because we've all said and we all saw that Guardiola said at the beginning of the season, I have 10 players and Bernardo Silva. And it really has, other than when he got injured for a game week, it has literally been I have 10 players and Bernardo Silva. He's played every single game. It's really been helped by the fact that KDB has been injured. He's kind of replaced KDB in that kind of recycling. I can go anywhere. I can play anywhere midfield role. But he doesn't cut it for me as an FPL asset.
Okay, I think one spontaneous thing also I was thinking about. I love even though it's very risky, I love the Hudson-Odoi pick from Sam. So I think we should make something similar of our own. And I'm gonna say the most controversial thing. I've been so people don't agree at all with me. But I think Ben Mendy has to be considered.
Oh. Don't say that name to me, please. I've got the money. Don't say it.
If Pep declares him fit, yeah, you could almost just bring Mendy in and still have the same team. Just upgrade like a shitty player, right?
Just upgrade Laporte to Mendy. I could do it like that.
No, I mean like one of your first subs or something. Just put Mendy on the field, and then he's gonna get to the bench if he's still injured. If he plays, he's gonna be amazing. That's the thing.
I think there's absolutely no way he plays both games, but we did see earlier in the season he can get double figures in any game. So I mean, if Pep says anything about him and says he's in line to start, that could be an incredible differential.
That's the thing. Everyone thinks it's psychotic, then that's why I like it. I'm doing it like Yogi style.
I'm going to be looking for two things. Now that you've mentioned that name, I'm going to be looking for two things. The first is the Guardiola press conference. The second is if he tweets a dolphin, he's going straight into my squad. You mark my word. If the dolphin re-emerges, he is going straight into my squad.
Yeah. So first look at Pep's conference, then look at Mendy's social media feeds, and then you're good to go. It's lovely. It's how it should be for the FPL manager. I think that's a great way to end the show. It's going to be a very fun week. It was a very fun show to do. So thanks for sharing your teams, and good luck, guys. I'll see you next week.
Yeah, good luck. Cheers.
Bye.